Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today is service day for this HP 3325A function generator. I've had this generator for about, about 4 years now, or maybe longer than that. Probably 5-6 years. But anyway, this has been one of my go-to instruments for a very long time. This was HP released this instrument officially in 1979, and they made it for a lot of years. There is a B version of this, but this instrument here is where it all started. This instrument does a lot of cool stuff. It will generate all the waveforms that you want. You know, you got sine and square, triangle, positive and negative going ramps. You have all kinds of nice sweep functions, and you can do modulated signals, both phase and amplitude modulated. It has, of course, a DC offset function. These two buttons here are the ones you use to set your amplitude and frequency. And then you got a phase button here that allows you to shift the phase of the signal between this one here and there's a 1 megahertz output back. I'll show you here in a second. But pretty straightforward and simple to operate. But today I am going to adjust the frequency reference in this thing. It's a little off. And like I said, I think we'll find out when I turn it around, but I put a little sticker on the screw in the back last time I adjusted this. So let me swing this thing around and we'll take a look. Well, here's what she looks like on the back. This instrument, of course, has a couple of options. It's got option 1, which is the high stability option, and it has the harder to find option 2, which is a high voltage output. It allows you to generate a signal up to 40 volts peak to peak from DC to 1 meg. And it's got your phase modulation and your amplitude modulated inputs here. Fan, of course, is missing the little cage that goes over this with the filter, but you know, take what you can get. And then we got a 1 megahertz reference out here. We've got an output here, so in case you want to go higher than 21 megs, this connector here is the one you want to use to go from 21 to 60 megahertz. And it's just basically a raw sine wave. And then these two connectors here, these are duplicates of the front connectors. Since this has option 2, this connector isn't being used. It's disabled. This one here is just a duplicate of the the sink out front. So, oh boy, I hate it when that happens. And then we got some other outputs here that are used with plotters and so forth. And according to my sticker here, looks like I serviced this, March 5th of 22. Yeah, so it's a bit overdue. So now let's pop some of the covers off here and take a look-see inside. See how it's fared over the years. All right, well, with the top cover off, we have a number of boards here. We have, of course, the power supply down at the bottom. This is known as, I believe, the A6 board. It's called the controller board. But it houses both the HPIB interface and, of course, the controller. And over here we have the fractional N and DAC board, I believe is what it is. It's called the A21 board. I think up here is a VCO can. So, yeah, pretty, not much to see up here, but everything we need is on the bottom. So we're going to adulterate my sticker, and I'll put the top cover back on so we don't accidentally mess something up. So before I button things up here, let's take a closer look at some of these ICs. One way to tell when these instruments were built is by looking at the date codes on the ICs. And this particular IC here was made the 18th week of 1981. So the serial number on the back of this instrument shows that it was built on a design based back in 1977. As far as, you know, it was the design was finalized on the 48th week of 1977. So yeah, it's a pretty old design. Yeah, a lot of the parts in here are all 1980s, early 80s components. So there was one there. Some of these date codes. There they go. There was another one, 38th week of 81. 38th week of 81. So this instrument was probably assembled around 82 or so. Maybe late 81. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, now that we got the bottom off, see the rest of the goodness of this unit. Right in front of us here is the function board. I think it's called, what is it, the A14 board. That's the one that generates, of course, you know, your sine, square, triangle, ramp. And let's see here, let me turn that off here. Right here is the high voltage board. This is field installable, so if you got one of these and it doesn't have this, you should be able to find this board, you know, maybe on eBay, and install it. Of course, we have the attenuator here, we have the frequency reference here, and then the high stability option here, which is also field installable. So we're going to try to adjust this unit here. That little trimmer there is the fine adjustment. Hopefully I don't have to open up the side. There's a screw on the side you can remove to get to the coarse adjustment. So maybe there's enough adjustment there on that trimmer that I'll be able to get this thing trimmed in. It's only about 1.5 Hz off at 10 megs, so maybe there'll be enough there. But we'll get it hooked up and see what we got to do. Okay, so there we go. The red trace is the GPSDO. The yellow square wave drifting to the left is the oscillator here in the unit. So it's drifting pretty fast. It's drifting fast. So we're going to try to adjust that trimmer right there and see if we can't get this to stop drifting. So here we go. Yeah, we're out of adjustment. All right, well, I got to get my other screwdriver out, and we'll take a little cap off the side here and tweak around with the coarse adjustment. All righty, well, we got her slowed down quite a bit now. So now I'm going to trim this control in just a little bit more, and get it trimmed in as close as we can. Well, there we go. That should work. All right. Well, I think we're done with this. So we're definitely a lot better than what it was. So it should be a whole heck of a lot closer now. But yeah. So anyway, this is the inside of this, and that's how you adjust the reference oscillator. I'll turn this light on here. So see that there's that little cap in there. You got to remove that, and there's a tiny slot head adjustment in there. And so once you get that done, you center up this this trimmer, and then you adjust that. That way you got a little bit of leeway to adjust it. It looks like it's moved a little bit, but it's pretty typical. Once you get the adjustment there, it settles, and then it'll start drifting again. So I'll let it run for a little bit, and I'll tweak it a little bit more, and I'll put the panel on, and we'll power it up, and we'll give it a couple of tests. So stay tuned. Well, guys, one of the things I also wanted to point out is that the orientation of your instrument when you're turn this light on when you're doing these adjustments does matter. Gravity affects oscillators, and it's not by much. But when you want to get this thing down to the gnats, you know what? Well, you got to adjust your instrument, and then lay it down in the orientation that you expect to operate it in. So right now, we are drifting ever so slightly to the right, which means the oscillator is running just a tad slow. Now, when I lay this instrument down, it's going to virtually stop drifting to the right, as gravity will be pulling on the crystal element from a different orientation. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're adjusting these. Now, if it's some instruments, you don't have to flop them over to make these adjustments. But unfortunately, the 3325A is such an instrument that you got to flip it upside down or on its side to make these adjustments. So once you get your adjustment made, you flip it down into the operating position. And if it stays still, then you're good to go. So let me flip this thing down and we'll take a look. Okay, we are in our operating position, and it is steady, steady, steady. So I think we're good to go on this. So I'm going to button this thing up, we'll power it up, and we'll take a look at it. Well, guys, this is about the closest I can get it. It is aging ever so slowly in the reverse, or a little slow. I tend to do this just because it's been my observation that a lot of these oscillators tend to age up in frequency after a while. So if you set it just to run a little slow, then you won't have to open it back up as often to readjust the reference. Now, there's also a way to do the calculation to figure out how far off frequency I am from this GPS DO. And it's just a little quick math. You just basically set the scope to 10 nanoseconds per division. You trigger it off your GPS DO. And then you time how long it takes the leading edge of the waveform to drift one full division. Now, this one's been speeding up and slowing down, stopping and going back in the other direction ever so slightly. So right now it's looks like either the line voltage has been pulled down slightly, or this is losing satellites and drifting off frequency. So I'll let it slow down a bit. Some of the calculations I've been getting is that I'm within 3.14 times 10 to the minus 10th positive, high in frequency, and 3.04 times 10 to the minus 10th in the opposite direction. So I'm definitely well within the published specifications. According to the manual, it should be plus or minus 5 times 10 to the minus 8th. So there's 2 orders of magnitude better. It won't stay that way for long, but hey, gotta take what you can get. Well, I think we're gonna call this good. So anyway, I have go over the math real quick. So I made a couple of measurements, and to do this, you basically time, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you time how long it takes the leading edge of your waveform to travel one division. And at 10 nanoseconds per division, it's pretty easy to figure out. So on the slow side, I was taking 49.82 seconds to go one division, and on the fast side, it was taking 38.7 seconds. So we can take the good old HP calculator here, and so it would go 1 times 10 to the minus 8th, and we would divide that by, say, 49.82. So we go 49.82 divide. So we were accurate to 2.01 times 10 to the minus 10th. That's certainly pretty darn good. And now, so that would be running slow. And now running fast. And divided by 38.7. So 2.58. So definitely well within the specs. So I would say that is pretty good. I'm going to wrap her up and call her good. So we'll finish up, connect everything back up on the back, and we'll fire up and see what happens. Well, here we are, up and functional. No problems. Square wave. There's square wave. Triangle. Positive going ramp. Negative going ramp. Yeah, we're good to go. And then, of course, back to sine wave. Nice instrument, guys. Yeah, one of these days I'll do kind of a bigger breakdown, a more detailed breakdown on how to work this thing and explore the sweep functions that it has. And in another video I believe I did a phase demonstration, but I think it was with the what was it, the 3335A over there. But this one basically does the same thing. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna just put this instrument aside and get the next one out and service the next instrument. So hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the comments.